The laughing is going to be very hard not to laugh because I'm naturally quite funny, but I'm sorry about that.
Just checking.
So yeah, that's right.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Mark. Welcome to my wise friends, and it's so good to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Yeah, it's nice of you to lower your standard of wisdom to have me on the show today. Thank you.
No. I've wanted to do this for quite a long time. You have a very interesting story to tell. To make sure you tell that story, I've got this bottle of Japanese whiskey. And this is the first for our podcast. We never had any alcohol drinks during the conversation. But I know you love whiskey, and I hope you love this whiskey.
That's right. Very good. One of my favorites. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So let's keep drinking. It's a chat between friends about the future of retailing in Australia. Let's go that way. Yeah. So, Mark, please tell us a bit more about yourself.
Well, I am someone who had started working in warehousing. I never had a retail background. I started in 2002 working for a company, Camera House. They were we're in the location that I'm working at the moment, where digiDIRECT is now. And I was working part-time, 5 days a week, but only 5 hours per day. And I was just picking and packing orders. Just did that for maybe about a year and a half until the management saw that I had a good work ethic, and they decided to offer me full-time work. During that time, I just kept learning new skills in warehousing and a little bit of customer service, but not much. Maybe just calling people to say that their orders were ready and things like that. I used to be quite maybe a timid person, you would say. I wasn't very good with interacting with people. Just from my background in working in warehouses, I never really had to do that. Eventually there was a bit of a boom with in 2008. 2007, 2008, when the government was giving out, when the GFC came around, and the government was giving out money to spend, basically, and so the electronics were booming at that time. People were buying new cameras with this money. A lot of the families were upgrading their equipment. Mothers wanting to take photos of their babies and things like that. So everyone wanted cameras. And digital cameras were the hot item back then. So at the time where I was working, I had my workload under control. I could do, they say the expression, I could do my job standing on my head. It was very easy for me. It wasn't very challenging anymore. But at times I would see that the shop was quite busy and clients weren't able to be served because it was very busy. And I would have a thing where if I walked past the store, because I would work in our storeroom downstairs, if I walked past and looked into the shop and I saw the same person was still there the third time I walked past, I would just wander out and approach them and ask them if they needed something. And most of the time at that time, because the products were so hot, people would just point to it and say, can I have one of these, one of these, one of these? And that was it. So and they just helped me to build skill and to learn how people interacted with, every day. And eventually in 2013, the company I was working for closed down and digiDIRECT came in. And that was where our boss said to me, there's no storeroom job. So I eventually had to go out into the shop and work in the shop. So that's how I basically started in the role.
Yeah.
And I am now, my skill set developed over the years, but we can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah. So for those who don't know Mark, I don't know why you don't know Mark yet, because Mark is a very famous and popular person, even in the local Chinese community. Mark is the manager of the digiDIRECT Melbourne store for quite a long time, and many people got to know Mark by becoming a customer and shopping at digiDIRECT Melbourne store. So, Mark, Are you an introvert or extrovert person?
Yeah, I would say introvert.
Yeah.
It might sound strange in the role I'm in, but I am.
Yeah. So how do you find it being a store manager? You need to, look after the customers, and you need to build a team. Do you find it's challenging for you?
It is challenging. Being somebody that finds it hard to express things, and articulate things to especially to staff members. It makes it a bit difficult. You can get frustrated sometimes. But yeah, it's always a challenge to get your point across to staff. With customer, it's a little bit easier. I feel a bit more relaxed because maybe you don't have to see that person every day. so it's a little bit easier to be a bit more comfortable and interact with clients every day.
Yeah. I still remember the day, which is many years ago. I actually went to Michael's camera store, and I didn't get the service I wanted. So I walked into your store, and you were the first person I met, and you said hi to me and helped me to, I think it was a Canon pancake lens, where it's like $200, but I didn't know much about cameras at all, and then you gave me a lot of advice. So is that how you build your relationship with customers? Give them the advice.
That's part of it. That is a part of it. Giving advice. One of the main things was, as you mentioned, you felt like you were served well. I'd been into shopping personally, and also observing from other camera stores I'd been to. I found that the service wasn't. People were just looking to make a sale. They weren't, and at whatever cost, it didn't matter. Like, you could sell somebody something they didn't need or didn't want. And I always found that if somebody came in with not much knowledge, people would think that was funny, and they could take advantage of them and sell them something that was more expensive or that they didn't need. Whereas I felt like I should deal fairly with people. And if you needed a lens that was $200, or you didn't know how much it was, and what you needed was $200, I would sell you that item for $200. I wouldn't try and pretend that something that was more expensive, that you would need that. So I feel like that I think the saying, a good name is better than good oil, that saying. I think that if you build a good reputation, that you deal fairly with your clients, then that's a good way to build customer base, build trust in the relationship. Yeah.
And you've been with digiDIRECT since it started, right?
Since it started in Melbourne, yes. Yeah. So we're the only store in Melbourne of digiDIRECT, and I started when they opened back in I think it was 2013. Yeah. So I've been with over 9 years now. I've been there. Yeah. So don't let my fresh face, good looks fool you. I've been around for a while. Right.
So over the last 9 years now, you witnessed the growth of digiDIRECT's business, and me as a customer buying camera lighting equipment all the time, I witnessed the competitors change. I used to shop at Michael's test camera, sometimes even JB Hi-Fi, but I don't do it anymore because I get better service at digiDIRECT. So when digiDIRECT was such a young player, new player in the market, you're facing older, stronger, bigger competitors. What was the strategy back then?
Well, the strategy was first in the early years, was to get people's attention from price point. So we would always come in cheaper because we need people to know who we are, right? So if we are more expensive than everyone else, there's no reason for anyone to visit us or visit our website, right? So we're quite big on putting our pricing on those on the price comparison websites and things like that, and that gets people's attention. But then also that when people come to the store, that you follow through. So it looks like a cheap price, but we don't give a cheap experience. We give a good experience, strong experience for the customer, good customer service, and also a friendly experience too. I feel like that it evolves over time. So I think that the first step is to get people's attention with the good price. We were quite successful with that, I think, and we've got quite a good market share. We're number one, with a lot of the suppliers now. So we've done pretty well over the years with it, but then eventually you have to change strategy. It can't always be about being the cheapest price. You have to deliver other service as well.
Yeah.
I think that was the early strategy, definitely the cheaper pricing.
Yeah. Well, digiDIRECT certainly wins the war, the pricing war, with against people like the other real like retailing stores. What about the online shops like eBay or Amazon, especially the overseas, the great imports?
Yeah.
They could afford a cheaper price than you guys. So what was the strategy then?
Well, the idea was to the idea is to explain to the client why it's cheaper and what the differences are buying from us. Usually it's goes around the warranty and the GST that taxes are paid. We pay our tax. The online stores are from overseas. You basically import and hope that you don't get a bill when it's delivered to you. The government changing the laws around the GST thresholds did help with that a lot, because it used to be $1,000, now $100 I think it is. So that helped a lot to get people to purchase through stores rather than online. And I guess people's experience from a lot of people, like in the early time of early time of me working for digiDIRECT, there was the grey market. They call it the grey market. That was quite big, and I think after people have some bad experiences from that, maybe they get something that was opened or refurbished or something, or that wasn't an original. Didn't have the manual. The manual was in a different language or something like that. So we were able to capitalize and let people know what the differences are. But also, I think the big thing was that a lot of places stressed about this client, this market, they're killing the market, these overseas thing, Amazon's killing the market, eBay's killing the market, allowing these imported products in. But I think from our point of view, we don't stress about if somebody's going to buy from there, they will buy from there. If our strategy was to educate the customer and let them know the benefits of purchasing from us over those places. But if they chose to purchase from there, then so be it. Yeah, there wasn't I detected a lot of bitterness in the marketplace about these sellers, and if you put that onto the customer gets a bad feeling. We just basically didn't worry about that at all and just focus on the people that were willing to shop in our market, educate the others that weren't, and perhaps down in the future they will come to us.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think if you buy a camera or lens from, let's say, eBay from overseas, and if something goes wrong, the Australian warranty, or the Australian, like Canon Australia or Sony Australia, they don't necessarily cover the warranty, right?
That's correct.
You have to go back to the overseas seller.
That's right.
Hoping
that they will, hoping that they haven't changed their name to something else and disappeared, that they'll answer your email.
Yeah.
A lot of these places would answer you when it's time to buy, but when you had a problem, it was very difficult to contact with them.
Yeah.
There's been a few popular grey import websites that no longer exist.
Yeah.
And people that bought from them, you're basically stuck. But look, there's ways around it. A lot of them, a lot of these places engage local repairers to help them to cover things under warranty. But eventually, it's become less and less of a competition for us, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Even though the prices can be cheaper.
Yeah.
It hasn't really affected our market as much as many may think. Yeah.
Yeah. Then let's talk about pricing, right? It could be a strategy. It could be a competitive advantage, you guys have. Why didn't people like Michael's or the other camera shops? And because it's a commodity, right? You're selling cameras and lenses, and people can do all the homework online now, YouTube and all the websites, right? And people know exactly what they're getting, and they can get the same thing either through you guys or through the other retailers. How come you guys can use the pricing strategy to get the market share? Why didn't Michael's have cheaper price?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, and there's a lot of theories on what went on over there. My thing is that they had a certain way that they needed to do business, that they knew how to do business, and maybe they were late to the online selling game, I guess, and they did have a big floor space that required a lot of staffing, so maybe they couldn't operate on the margins that we were able to operate on. But I think maybe just but I think maybe not adapting to the current marketplace may have affected their thinking on that one. But it was, and as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of bitterness towards cheaper pricing and not being able to maintain margins that were previously held in that space. Like, the margins are quite thin at the end of the day, and a few people that have been around for a long time still sort of have as a goal to reach a certain margin point. Doesn't always work in today's market. I think you would agree that today's everything's price driven. You watching the news, everyone complains when the bread goes up or the fuel goes up in price. Everyone's looking for the cheapest fuel, the cheapest bread. So naturally, everyone's going to look for the cheapest camera, cheapest lens, cheapest iPad, cheapest phone. So I think adapting to that, to the way the mindset of the client, I think that maybe that they haven't been able to do that as easily, just because, and a lot of businesses are part of bigger companies, and parent companies maybe don't understand how it works on floor level, and they still have at boardroom level maybe they don't understand how the market's moving, and they expect a certain result that's not realistic in today's marketplace. So, I do find that I'm not really big on business, but I do find that boardrooms are generally full of people who did it 20 years ago, right? So the idea is for them to try and get the up-to-date information, and if that doesn't get passed through correctly, they maybe have a different view of the market than what perhaps somebody who's a bit more connected to the everyday running of a business would be. Yeah.
That's actually a very, very interesting point. One is, let's talk about the boardroom first. Like, you have people sitting in the boardroom, they are deciding the future of a company, they are coming up with a strategy, and then they're telling the frontline people what to do. And if they don't have the mindset of embracing changes, and it is changing, right, every day. Yeah. And as a customer, from a customer's perspective, I think you're absolutely right. My shopping experience was I used to shop there. It's a very big shop in a very central location. So I'm guessing the rent could be quite expensive. And you have so many staff on display, and they have many people working in the store. And I don't feel like I'm a very important customer because I don't know anyone there. No one really wants to talk to me until I approach them, and they don't give me a lot of advice. Just say, buy this, buy that. And I don't feel like I'm, getting treated very well. But in seeing that, I can see people like Michael's. If they were big, they were probably the top 1 or 3 players in the market. But if they don't embrace the changes, and that can change very, very quickly, right? And speaking of the store setup, because now I realize, comparing to the other stores, digiDIRECT store in Melbourne, and I've been to the store in Brisbane as well, they are quite small. Is that deliberate?
It's more. I don't think it's deliberate because we have recently expanded the Brisbane store a little. It's more of just a circumstance. The buildings that were available to us, but it's also I guess it's trying to in a store like maybe Michael's or a Ted store that's quite large. You have to. It's almost like you're stretching to find something to put in the store, whereas we try to. If we're going to dedicate real estate to a certain product, it needs to get results. So having a smaller space, I guess, allows you to be a little bit more brutal on what you're displaying. It has to make a return for you. If it doesn't, we will find something that does. And I think that it also allows us to maybe not, in a smaller space, maybe at times, although we do deliver a good service to the clients, it maybe allows us to not overly spend too much time with the one person. There's in a spacious store, I feel like the client maybe feels like they can hang around a bit longer, even if it's for a small purchase. Whereas we although we treat the customer the same if they're buying small or big item, it does allow them to understand that yes, we're busy, we need to move to the next client, so I think it utilizes the space the best, having a smaller footprint in the store.
Do you guys ever look at like I know Apple does this, right? They look at the stores and they do a return on per square meter, and they really look at that and say, we need a big store, but not too big, because we're expecting so many customers to walk through the door. Do you guys look at that as well? Like yes, we need a physical presence in the city, but we don't want a very big store because number one, we're going to pay a lot of rent. Number two, we're going to need more staffing to look after that.
Yep.
So
it is like it's not a. I guess it's not a main strategy of the business, but it is a consideration. I mean, you've been to our store, and it's a smaller store, and we don't need to have 10 or 11 staff in there. We can run on half of that. Just again, like having the return on what's out there, like you mentioned, the amount of space that we have there, we need a certain amount of return. And I guess if you keep your costs as low as possible, your return, your return's better. Your profitability's better. I think in a larger store, as I said, you're almost stretching to see what can we put out, what can we fill this space with, and maybe it's something that, like a good example is on-camera flash that's almost gone now, and lighting has taken over. So you could have a whole section dedicated to on-camera flash systems that nobody is purchasing, and you're paying rent on that space. You don't get the return that you need. So in our store, we've narrowed the space of display for these things. Dedicate more space to lighting, LED panels and everything like that, so we can always adapt very quickly in a smaller space. Whereas you may not if you're in a larger space, you may not pay attention to that. You can just let it go, and months and months go past and you haven't acted. So
who makes that decision, like how to display items?
So it's a little less. I guess this is I think the strength of what we do. We don't have a major formally communicated way to do this. That we empower, like the company empowers the managers to suggest and make decisions. And as long as you're not going too far outside any guidelines, you're able to act on that quite fast. I know that with that, and the example of lighting that I gave, I changed that about mid last year, maybe earlier than that. Changed it, and it's been rolled out across our stores because it's a concept that made sense, and that's what happens across our network. If someone in Sydney comes up with something that looks good, we try and roll it out across the board and make sure it works.
Do you ever communicate with the other store managers?
We do quite often. We have meetings weekly or every couple of weeks with the managers with our head office. And again, to help them to see the way the market goes. I think I mentioned earlier that some boardrooms will only, they communicate with their stores very infrequently. And just it's usually to tell them we're changing something. We speak together with our head office, but also, the managers will speak to each other a few times a week, see how each other are going, any suggestion, any help. If they need some advice or help, then we'll speak. And if something's working really well, we let each other know about it. Different strategies that can help each store achieve their goals.
That sounds like a very healthy company culture there. Like everyone is helping each other. Instead of having a silo, or hey, I'm running the Melbourne store and I'm going to have better figures at the end of this quarter than your Sydney store. So you guys are actually helping each other.
We do. And I think that, I've seen that culture around where it's, I compete against each other, compete against everyone outside. I feel like, and that's why we don't really put a major thing on personalized targets and things like that, we all go together for a store pull together and make the store successful. And everyone gets rewarded that way. Rather than, I think it's better to it's better for culture to do it that way than to have everybody at each other's throats internally. It's not it's not a good work environment, and people don't enjoy coming to work to compete against each other, I guess. I think I call it I think, not everyone wants to be like the insurance salesman in the USA. They go at the back and high five each other. Hey, I got another sucker. That's it doesn't last. That doesn't last. You burn the market very fast. So, and everyone competes with each other, and everyone gets it creates animosity in the team. Whereas we like to just make sure everyone works together.
And people, like, that's an interesting topic, especially now. Very hard to find people, let alone good people, right? So, as the store manager, are you responsible for recruiting new people?
Not directly, no. We do we have recruitment. We have recruitment people in HR. But we always, like, if we're looking for people, as a manager, you would put out there that you're looking for people, and then we can try and interview. And I always I think we've been able to recruit a few people just from putting the word out there that we're looking for staff. So I mean, that doesn't always work out, but you have to try. You have to try. Especially in this labour market, there's so many choices for everybody, as you probably you've been experiencing as well. Like, it's just it's really hard to find reliable people. I think people aren't always everyone's looking for casual work or part-time work at the moment. So it's very hard to find reliable long-term staff. So when you do find them, we always look after people and make sure they do well.
That was very insightful, Mr. Mark. So speaking of the people, right? So you guys have a recruiting process where, as the store manager, you don't have to worry about that too much. But apparently you want reliable, honest, very friendly people, right? Is there any special trait you look after when you recruit new people?
Well, we always personally, I like for people to be friendly and personable. Not knowledge and things like that. I don't put a big weight on that. I think that people can always learn. People can always study and learn, and we can teach people about the products. The products always change. So you could know about everything. It's similar to IT. You can know how to code everything one week, and then the next week everything changes, and you've got to learn again. So I don't put a big weight on product knowledge, as some may. More, I look for traits like personability. Are you comfortable talking to people? Can you be nice to people? Can you greet people as well? I think a lot of things these days, you walk into a store and you get grunts from people, and it doesn't make you want to leave your money there, right? So my thing was more about being friendly first, and then knowledge later. So always look for people that can be friendly.
Honestly, I think you are the most friendly people person in a store. That's why I always come to you, right? And Jack Ma Yun, the billionaire from China, right? Alibaba, he mentioned this concept, and he proposed this concept many years ago. It's called the new retailing, right? It simply means, you can't just do online. You have to marry online and offline together to provide a complete, comprehensive shopping experience. I didn't understand that very well back then until I met you, because nowadays it's so easy to just click a few buttons and buy your stuff. And essentially, we're buying stuff that we can do all the research on the internet. We don't really have to meet anyone to get the advice anymore. We can rely on YouTube, right? And just buy that stuff. But my shopping experience, personal experience is, I always come to the store, and I always come to look for you. If you are not working that day, I don't even bother. I don't even come to shop. I buy many stuff on Amazon.com.au. I buy many stuff on eBay, but I don't buy my camera stuff on those websites. Even sometimes they are cheaper, right? And until then, I realized this new retailing, because if I go to your store, I can meet you we can have a chat. I can get some like real, honest feedback, and I can get a discount. If I shop online, even on your website, on digidirect.com.au, I couldn't get the discount, a special friends rate, right? Is that part of the strategy? Like you always look after the people who walk through the front door, try to encourage customers to come to the physical store.
It's not a strategy. Like for us, I think I think it hasn't been. It's not a company directive or strategy or anything like that. I think it's just something that personally I feel like I naturally came up with, like over the years, just evolved. I always wanted to make people feel welcome, and I wanted to fulfill what fulfill what they wanted and what they needed, and always felt like if I looked after the client, they would come back again and again, and they would tell their friends and their family to come and shop with us. I think that it was all based, I think, as I alluded to earlier, it was based upon how I felt when I went shopping. Like you go to, I tried to bring the concept of the coffee shop to where I work, and I think if you especially in Melbourne, you can get 10 coffees. There's 10 coffee shops on a block. What makes you go to a certain coffee shop? Everyone can make a good coffee, right? I mean, it's pretty hard to make a terrible coffee. So everyone can make the thing that makes you come back is the people, right? So if someone's being friendly, you get to know them, you become, I guess you become friends with some people as well. These are the things that I feel like I was drawn to certain places because of the personalities behind it, and that's something that I think that I brought to this business. Is just try and be friendly to people. You get to know people as well when they come back over and over, and I feel like that draws people to come in. Just the personability, and as you mentioned, you can click and buy anything from anywhere in the world now, right? You can research. There's people that have way too much time on their hands. They'll make you a 5-hour video about how to use a camera or which camera to buy, right? You don't need to come to me at all. But the reason you come to me, I feel like, is that you know you're going to get looked after, you get a good price, but also, you get a bit of entertainment. You can sit, I mean, have a bit of fun. We joke around. If you've been to the store before, I'll usually, a lot of people say I should be a detective, because if I see someone once, I'll remember them 5 years later, and I'll tell you what you bought. I can recount a story from whatever. So I think this draws people to the store, and maybe to me too. I feel like that it's not like a considered strategy or anything like that. It was just something that I think evolved naturally, and I just could understand that that's why people would come back or tell their friends to come to me. They were getting a good deal. They were getting friendly, honest service, dealing fairly with people as well. That's how I feel. I don't know. You've been to the store. I'm not sure if that's the experience you feel like, but that's what it is. I think not treating people like, hey, here's some money coming in the door. It's more like, I'm going to get to know this guy. I know what camera gear he's got, and what are you shooting this week or whatever. So I think that draws people to the store and to myself.
Yeah, know your customers. So that's certainly the case for me. Like, when I walk through that door, I know I will get good service. I know I will get good advice. Quite often, before I come to the store and meet you, I sort of figure out what I want to buy. But then if I ask you some questions, I sort of change my mind on the spot, and I feel a lot more confidence when I change that decision, right? But here's a challenging question for you. That's probably a trade secrets question for you. As the store manager, and I always come to you, right? And my friends always come to you. Are you the only person in the store who can give a very good discount?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the other people can also do that.
We can also. Everyone's free to, we can do our own deals. We don't sort of clamp, we don't have a set margin you have to make. We always encourage everybody to do a good deal for people. I've oftentimes tried to actually some of my regular clients, I have tried to say, look, go and see, come over here, I'll introduce you to this guy who'll look after you from now on. But then after a few times they deal with them, they always come back to me.
Yeah, that's
the same for me. So for me, I'm not sure if it's about price, because oftentimes my colleagues will say to me, all right, this guy's here, what price do I do? If I'm not working that day, he'll send me a message, okay, do it for this. And they say, he said he's going to wait for you. What time, when are you working next? So I feel like maybe it's not exactly about price, although there's a certain regular clients that I have that it is about price. It's always about price. And if I'm $10 more than what they found, they still won't buy it from me. And,
really?
And for me, and this is the difference with some people. People would get stressed about that and say, this guy's not loyal, he's not. But for me, it's people's money. They can do what they like with it. And I never show any stress. Why don't you buy it from me or whatever? People are free to make their own decisions. That's it. So I feel like maybe that relaxed nature maybe draws people to still purchase from me, even though maybe the price is a little bit more. A lot of people understand that if you do want to walk into a store and you want it to be there, then maybe you can, you will still purchase from it.
Yeah. If everyone in the store, like all your staff, if they are encouraged to do deals with the customers, right, then how do you manage the KPIs? Like, do you have to say, hey, you have to make certain margin on the products, and if you can achieve that, anything more than that, it's flexibility. You can make the call.
There's a lot of flexibility in pricing. As I said, the margins are quite low, so especially on hardware. Basically, it's get the deal done on the hardware and then see what you can work from there.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to buy another item from you. People are on their 5th, 6th, 7th cameras.
Yeah.
But you basically do a deal and see how you go. A lot of places will let people go because they weren't able to add an extra warranty or an extra. The guy's not going to buy a warranty. He's not going to get a spare battery. Not going to get a memory card. It's not worth it. That's what people think. But for me, I think making the relationship with the customer is worth it. So you may make $5 out of a $5,000 sale. I see it as a long-term relationship, I guess. They will come when next time they need something. They got a good deal the first time. Deliver a good deal the next time. Maybe you can make a little bit more money. But it doesn't always work like that. And if a client is very pushy with pricing, then we just let them go. We're not too fussed about that.
Yeah, I did some research on the TV industry, like how people like Harvey Norman, JP Hi-Fi, and Good Guys, people like that, how they sell their TV sets and still make profits. And the strategy is always about, we'll sell you this TV, this 65-inch LED TV for such a low price. And even you compare that price with other people, you still think that's a good deal. But hey, after you buy that TV, I will try to sell you a cable, an HDMI cable for $300. And that's where the profit is, right? And I guess that's the same with cameras, right? The profit is actually in the accessories, not in the hardware itself.
That's true to an extent, but yeah, people do research the accessories too, prices. So the margins are maybe not as big as they could be, but yeah, as an overall package, the margins are sustainable. Yeah, and again, we don't sort of be pushy with our extra sale. A lot of places, there's a lot of concepts out there, retail concepts where lines per sale and average sale and things like that, and they all make sense from a theoretical standpoint, but from a practical standpoint, maybe not. So that's how I've always felt. You'll buy the camera from me and okay, you didn't buy 3 things from me on the day. I'm not stressed. You'll be back next week because you'll realize you need them, and you'll come back 5 times. So you can be there once and I sell you 2 things with your camera and you never come back again, or I sell you nothing or 1 thing with your camera. You're back 5 more times to get something else. So, and that's not like to say, hey, I'm going to take a lot of money off you as a customer. It's more of I know that you build up a trust with the client, and if they do need something else, that they're going to come to you. That's just Yeah, and I'd never like to. I keep going back to this, but as a customer myself, I never like being sold something that I don't need, that I know I don't need, or I think I don't need at the time. So I try to deal with people in the same way when they come to me.
Yeah, I guess that's a very good lesson for our audience and our academy students. A lot of people are actually in retail, and you see different approaches, different style, right? Some people really focus on the deals, really focus on the profit margin on certain deals, and they will try to say, I'll sell this camera, I'm only making 5%, 3%, but I'm going to try to sell you this bag, these batteries, this memory card, and I'll try to get 20, 30%, even more margins of the accessories. That's one approach. And what you are talking about is, hey, I don't want to push you. If you want to buy the camera today, I'm gonna give you the camera. But let's build a trust, build a relationship. And later, when you need something else, just come to me. I'll look after you. And that certainly works for me. Like, I'm your customer, right? And that's the case I find. If I come to you, you don't push me or convince me to buy anything else. And if I need anything else, I'll come back to you. So I think that's a very interesting strategy, and that's a very good strategy. Certainly works. So my next question is, Mr. Mark, you are very, very popular in the local, community, right? And you mentioned the word community. And well, at the XMBA Academy in our core business program, we actually built a business case around digiDIRECT. And one of the things is how to deal with competition, especially when you're new. And the other thing is community-based, community-focused. Like you mentioned community. And it is a community, right? People who like making videos or taking photos, it's a community. So how do you build your community? Like you're on WeChat, right?
Yes.
And I like your post, you like my post. And I find it very interesting because you actually are active on WeChat.
Yes.
And I'm guessing there are a lot of people like in the local Chinese community, your customers, they are on your WeChat and they can see, you are posting funny stuff, So how do you build your customer relationships? How do you build your community?
I guess, you mentioned the WeChat, and it's quite a lot of people. I speak with a lot of Chinese clients, and they are quite shocked when I tell them I'm on there, just to laugh. I say that when they have WeChat open on there and they're communicating with their friends while I'm serving them, and I say, what are you doing on WeChat? Who are you calling on WeChat, or who are you messaging? Who's the expert on WeChat? I always joke around about that, and they say, how do you know that's WeChat? I have WeChat, but it was more the reason I signed up for WeChat is probably going to sound funny, but a lot of time when communicating with client in the store, I couldn't understand. We found it hard to communicate. So I found out that I did sign up to WeChat a long time ago. One of my customers had moved to China and said, keep in touch. I had them on Instagram, but they said, we can't open Instagram all the time. I have to go VPN, blah, blah, blah. So I said, they said, sign up to WeChat. So I signed up so we could communicate through there. But then I worked out that you could, it was very hard to...
Was it a female customer? Or?
No, it wasn't. No, it's okay. See how you just assume straight away, trying to pick up girls on WeChat. Doesn't work. I've been told already. I've been filled in. But so I found that you could, some of the clients, we had a big client base who maybe males, like maybe 50 and over, who had been in Australia for a while, but maybe similar to my dad who immigrated from Greece a long time ago. The English is not the best. They cannot speak that well. My dad can speak well now, but back then maybe not. So it was very hard for us to communicate. They want to buy product. I can't sell them products. So in WeChat, you can translate that. I said to them, write to me in Chinese. I will translate in the app, and I can answer you in English, and you translate what I'm saying to you. So this is why I started using it. Then I found that it was a good way to build client base. I just found that, hey, if people were ordering or wanted to get things that were really hard to get, I would say, look, when I get it, I'll send you a message in WeChat. You can come and get it. So, and then after a while, you make like yourself. You come to the store and we see each other all the time. And we laugh and we joke. We become friends, right? So then I just start to post things and try to entertain people and be funny. And I think some of my friends tell me that the jokes don't make sense to some people. So sometimes I ask them to translate for me. I think, and then we get a big reaction. Where did you learn to type Chinese? I didn't. I have a translator. I have a personal assistant that's Chinese. She
in the store.
That's what we joke about. Yeah, it's not really my personal. Just a friend of mine, but she says she's my assistant. So I ask her to type things for me. If I need to get something, a point across. That makes sense to the community. But again, it's all about being on WeChat. It's about making people feel comfortable talking to me, and they can feel comfortable. They can communicate and ask me for pricing or introduce their friends to me. It's much easier if they share my WeChat contact with their friend who wants to buy something. And it enables them to contact me at it was a good way, because people would always ask, what's your phone number, or if I need something. And quite simply, I'm not giving my phone number to client, because you need to have a work and life balance. You cannot switch. People will call you at 10 o'clock because they want to know about cameras. I'm not interested in that. And that's, I think, you have to set a boundary to that. And being on WeChat allows me to, if I cannot answer that at the time, then I can't, it separates your work from personal. But it enabled me for people to feel comfortable to communicate with me and ask me for product and share my contacts. So.
Do you have any other means or apps communicating what other customer base, like WhatsApp and stuff?
I don't use WhatsApp much at all. I had a little bit, and I just found that some of the clients that were on there were a little bit demanding and a little bit, I found it a bit hard to control. So I don't give that out anymore. I use Instagram a bit as well. Some clients have me on Instagram, but I don't freely share it because, as I said, it's hard to control the client base if you're freely communicating through those forums. But I always found that being on WeChat, that maybe the Chinese client would be more respectful of the boundary between business and instead of messaging me at 11:30 at night asking me about cameras, that I felt there was a little bit more of respect there, so I was able to keep the account open and I keep, as you said, I post things on moments, silly things that I feel like it helps the customer to feel close to me, like that we're friends and they can trust me and things like that. That I'm open and I'm out there. I'm not hiding from anybody. I haven't ripped anyone off. But then I'm here to help you.
I certainly like your WeChat post, your Instagram post. I find them really funny, especially. And here's the thing, right? When you meet someone, especially in a business context, and you are a customer and you're buying stuff or you're doing business together, but as soon as you get onto that person's Instagram or WeChat account, then you see but you see different aspects of this person, and that helps build the relationship big time, and you feel a lot closer. And the next time you see this person, it feels like you're an old friend. So, But I get what you say. So sometimes people, they send you messages, around 11:30 p.m. They expect an answer. It happens to all of us, I guess.
That's it. Yeah, but I think that helps. I think, as you mentioned, you see my personality through these Instagram and WeChat, and I think it shows that I'm not putting on an act when you come to the store. This is my normal personality. I like to be funny and friendly and things like that. So I think that also helps to build my reputation around the business as well.
And that's how I know you love whiskey. you know. So for the people who are watching this, if you want a very special deal on your next camera or lens, make sure you bring a nice bottle of whiskey.
That's right.
It works really well for my.
That's it. Yeah, and if you don't bring it, I'll ask you.
Yeah.
Always deliver. One of my colleagues said to me that sometimes my sarcastic comments, they don't translate very well to some of the foreign clients, maybe some European or some Chinese client. They say that, so they take me literally. So they will sometimes I say, hey, they will be holding a milk tea or something. I said, did you bring me as well? And then they bring one for you because they think you're serious. So so I have to sometimes say, no, I'm just joking. Don't bring to me. But yeah, that's a good strategy, Max. We're talking about my strategy. Your strategy should be to help me out, bring me a nice whiskey, and we can talk business.
Long black coffee at least. That's the minimum, right?
That's right.
Whiskey.
That's right.
Better.
That's
but
okay.
yeah, right. I think the cultural nuance is a thing now. People from different backgrounds and they see things in a very different way, and they get offended sometimes. We think we're making a very lovely joke, but they get really offended. So, especially people like you are working in such environments, you are meeting new people every day. So yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and I think I don't know how you feel, but I think that I always have tried to learn about these differences in culture and tried to make sure I don't offend and try to make people feel comfortable that they're leaving their money in the right place. So I think that's something that I try to.
We will interview a legal partner from PricewaterhouseCoopers, and they mentioned Jensen from the previous my wife's friends, and he mentioned this thing, which is I find it very interesting. Is at the consulting firms, accounting firms, they have a partner dedicated for culture nuances. And they say, IQ is very important, you got to be smart. EQ is very important, you got to know how to communicate with people, right? And now the cultural code is very, very important. You got to understand the differences, the nuance, and deal with it. So that's I can only imagine you are dealing with different people every day. Right. In your team or customers, but let's talk about COVID, right? So over the last 2-3 years, it's been so challenging for many, many businesses, especially the retail business and hospitalities, right? How did you guys cope with it?
I think that a lot of online businesses did well because people were at home and bored and shopping in their downtime. A lot of the I think the JobKeeper and job seeker allowances help people to have a lot of disposable income in that time. People were setting up home studios and doing podcasts that no one was listening to. I'm just but there's things like that. That's right. Yeah. This one's going to be very popular, Max, because you're always popular. But there's that's it. But so people were setting these things up. So we were selling a lot of products related to this. So our website was quite successful and quite powerful during this time. Yeah. But that you had to find ways to Melbourne especially was locked down more than the other states, and you still have to pay rent to your landlord, and you still have to find a way to keep everyone. Even though, JobKeeper's there, people, especially our employees, they didn't want to just stay home and not contribute anything. So we, in our store in particular, we did some dispatching for our online department, but we also thought about strategies how we could not manipulate the market, but how we could use the rules to our advantage to take some business in. We did a lot of phone orders and things like that, but we did have, especially from our Chinese community and through WeChat, we did have a lot of clients support us through that time, purchasing cameras. I think the A7S Mark III came out during that time. Maybe not. Maybe the R5 Canon, I think, as well, got delivered to us during that time, and that allowed us to do some business. Not in store, but what I dub takeaway cameras. So always felt that, click and collect was allowed during that time, but also felt like if it was safe for you to get a takeaway coffee and tap your card and purchase a coffee, then in my view it was safe to call me or message me and tell me what you want. I'll get it ready for you. You can come and tap and pay at we set up a till at our side entry there, and you could pay that way.
Yeah.
I think a few times you also called us. Called us, ordered something on the phone, picked it up later on. So like we got a lot of support from our regular, and we looked after them as well. We did some really crazy pricing, get some revenue, kept us all employed and kept the business going well.
Yeah.
And once we bounced out of that, we did well from there. So the strategy was just to keep our clients engaged and giving them some really good deals. We were quite aggressive with sales during that period as well, because our stores aren't open. We need to. There's still commitments. The commitments don't go away during lockdown. We managed to do quite well during that time.
Yeah.
Kept our staff engaged. Keep the customers engaged as well.
Yeah. As a customer, I actually enjoy that shopping experience. Like I can call you, or I can send you a message via WeChat and order something, and because no one was around in the city, like it was an empty city, so I could just park anywhere I wanted and just ring the doorbell. It was almost like buying something illegal and then get your special package, all packed up, and you just run away.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, that's right.
It was a good memory.
It was good. Like I remember, because we had sometimes had a line of people, like especially in the second long lockdown. Sometimes we had a line of people wanting to collect things, 4 or 5 people waiting outside the door there. I think it was a good experience for everyone. I think maybe we help people to get through the hard times, having a positive attitude and being flexible and helping people. So yeah.
So what's next? Now the COVID sort of comes to end, so to speak, and the brick and mortar stores open again, and but this time around, people start to talk about the new shopping experience, right? It's not just a store where you give your the products to your customers anymore. It's experience, right? So what's your view on the retail next?
Yeah. My view maybe doesn't align with everybody like else, and maybe our company, maybe it doesn't align with that, but I feel like the experience, it's going to be about the experience of brick and mortar store. It's not necessarily going to be about closing a deal anymore on the spot. People will always come to you and buy something in the store, but I feel like maybe it's a mix of showcasing what you have to offer, and not necessarily a purchase on the spot. Maybe people will go home and decide, okay, I saw what I wanted, I'm going to order it online. I've started to see a trend where people feel more comfortable ordering it and collecting it, because that's what you're allowed to do during those COVID times. It was a click and collect service, basically. So people out of habit have just continued to do that. I feel like retail will be handing over that bag that they've already ordered and asking if they do need anything else to go with that, or mentioning that, hey, you need a battery for that, or you need this, and just a soft sell rather than a forceful sell add-on. But I feel like that's the way retail is going. And again, I guess building that relationship, recognizing the person who has ordered a few times. Part of our process is to check ID for an online order. But if you've seen the guy 3 or 4 times and you remember him, you make him feel comfortable by saying, don't worry about your ID, we've seen you before. And you can see that they actually are really happy that you've remembered them. And you can maybe be able to convert them to an in-store customer rather than a click customer. But I feel like that more, I guess, the strategy that and the way retail's going, I think it's more that your store will be a way to showcase and to enforce what you have to offer on your website. So maybe things like sales targets and things like that maybe aren't a big deal. I see it more of I guess if you like an Apple or a Samsung store, their main goal maybe is not to sell you something on the spot. Maybe I got that wrong, but I feel like it's to showcase what you have to offer as a brand. And I think that, if you visit, we have a newly renovated store in Melbourne, and if you visit the store and see some of the things that we have on display, you might think, hey, what's this all about? But I think it's to showcase what we have to offer as a brand and through the multiple channels. Yeah. So I feel like that's the way it's going. I feel like that if you have the right personalities representing the brand and the company, I feel like that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
And,
it's all about long-term, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I think that like everyone's on marketplaces and everyone's shopping on marketplaces and looking for coupon codes and things like that. So I feel like that people will utilize those services more and more. And I think that the stores are more about giving you a personal experience and about showcasing what your company has to offer. Yeah, almost like a showroom rather than a sales floor, I guess you could say. Yeah.
So it's more about experience than just hand over the products. That's right. Yeah. And I last question. I noticed that digiDIRECT is exploring this new category. You guys are selling gaming products like computer monitors and mouse and keyboards. Right. What's happening right there?
It's a new market for digiDIRECT, but I guess the idea is that these products are all related. They're all intertwining, and I guess lighting and microphones and your streaming and gaming. We want to offer everything that's available, but also it's just more of a, I guess, with the way photography goes and videography, I feel the markets are getting cut out by the advancement in phone technology. So we sell the phone now as well. We pick up. So I guess it's trying to maintain the pie that you have, and maybe growing the pie a bit more as well. So I guess that's the strategy behind it. It's not. Everyone's aware that there's a lot of competition in that market, and they don't just give it up. Yeah. But we rely on, as I said, the experience and the personalities to deliver the vision, I guess you could say. But but if it works, it works. But you don't. Yeah. But there's not a pressure, to. And that's, I think, the good thing about the company is that they don't put pressure on you to deliver. On this, it just give it a go. Here's the strategy. Here's the way to make it happen. And we try and grow your pie a little bit. Yeah.
I see.
Instead of buying three things from us and one from someone else, buy the 4 from us. That's basically it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, essentially targeting the same audience, same segments, and they have, similar needs. Like people like me, I buy computer stuff, when I buy camera stuff. So, and if I like you, I like the brand. Yeah, I will shop at your store. That makes sense. Yeah. So it's a growing market, right? It's more people are trying to become YouTubers and podcasters and creating content. And when we provide consulting services to our clients, business clients, we're telling them, content is the way to go. You're creating content that can be your future sales team, your future BDM's team. A good content or a matrix of contents can replace the whole team. So I wholeheartedly recommend Mr. Mark from digiDIRECT Melbourne. And I'm saying this not because I have any commercial benefits from digiDIRECT at all. I'm seeing this as a loyal customer, a very satisfied customer over the years. I think I'm getting a lot of value, getting a very good price, and getting very good advice, and getting friendship, a good relationship out of this. So are you comfortable if we share your WeChat ID through this?
I guess so. You can if you like. That's it. Yeah, I get to choose who I add, so you could. Sure thing. No worries. No problem. Yeah, you're welcome to do that. I guess happy to help out anybody if they mention Max. Max has always been loyal to us, so always happy to help out his friends. Yeah.
Mention my name, get a very special deal, right? Get a free battery.
I can't afford free battery. It's
Not even free battery.
That's it. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
A free lake.
It's okay. We'll work something out. We'll work something out for you. That's it. Yeah, that's right. We'll help
Mr.
you
Mark
out.
has this very special face mask with Leica logo.
That's as close as I can get to a Leica. Having a Leica,
Yeah.
that's the problem. That's it. I can only wear the mask. That's it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you very, very much. Very insightful. And hopefully you guys doing well after the COVID, and hopefully the new era, the new retailing era, you guys still winning the game.
Yeah, we hope to continue to be successful. Yeah, hopefully they still want me to be part of it as a company. But that's it. Yeah, happy to come on, and I'm quite happy to be considered someone who knows what they're talking about. To be honest, I just I didn't think so, but thanks for inviting me on, and appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks.
the pleasure is ours, and
Nice,
hopefully you enjoy this whiskey.
Yeah, it's very
I
good.
know it's
Very
your
good.
favorite,
So,
so
did you need to show them the logo just so
No,
they know what to bring?
no.
Or-
No, they are not a sponsor. So yet.
Just makes it. You could. That's how you grow your business, Max.
Yeah,
You say,
especially,
one free, first one free, and then after that.
Hide the logo. It's a very nice Japanese whiskey. So if you are the manager or owner of this brand, reach out. We'll think about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, thank
Nice.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.